So let's start with 7 realities and then go to the reading of Mehra. Ashokji?
Definitely. Avatar, Meher Baba ki Jai. The 7 realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. 1. The only real existence is that of the one and only God, who is the self in every finite self. 2. The only real love is the love for this infinity, God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. 3. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, even life itself, are sacrificed. 4. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. 5. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without any expectation of reward. When compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. 6. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. 7. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Mehra Baba ki Jai. So let's just look at where we are. We are in chapter 9 still. Um, and we stopped at page 196, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we finished up to 196. We have had 10 sessions of reading. So roughly, I think halfway through the book, or more than halfway. And uh, 200 of 319. Yeah, more than halfway of the book. And yeah, so we will continue from where we stopped on last Saturday. So any volunteers to read, or shall I start reading first and then we can rotate?
Yeah, you read
Then
first, Karthik, then I'll
okay,
join.
done.
Yeah.
So
I
done.
mean,
Okay.
when I was at Samadhi this time,
Mm-hmm.
and we have been reading Mehera, I got
Mm-hmm.
that, those thoughts came, this is the place which have
Wonderful.
been you touched by Baba, touched by Mehera and the earliest
Mm.
Mandali. Uh,
Mm.
and uh, and when Baba was also talking, probably that the first time, we have 25 also, this was there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and cooking must
You
have been done, all that
in the
stories that we
kitchen,
have been
Ansari's
reading.
kitchen. Yeah.
All these, all these stones are, witness to all that.
Wonderful.
It was,
Wonderful.
it was very emotional feeling. Jai Baba. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's the idea of heart and mind. So Saturdays are heart. So we focus on evoking those sentiments, storing those sentiments, and enjoying those moments, and reliving them like you did when you were in Mehrabad. And Sunday is more to get to the mind, right? So we will. By the way, I have a suggestion on from Nehaji saying after discourses we should take up different lectures. But again, we don't have the book. I'll figure something out. I've got the hard copy now. I'll have to see how to make it accessible and usable. So that's for Sunday readings after discourses, which should be at least a couple of months given the speed at which we are doing discourses. But I'm glad you thought of these moments, and I'm glad that you experienced what you experienced. Jai Baba. So we stopped here, and now we are, if you remember, it was the Nuns Rock, and this was in Panchgani. We saw the photographs, not Panchgani, Nuns Rock in Mount Abu, Rajasthan. And then we are now back to Mehera, and Mehera, this is 1949. From Mount Abu, we returned to Mehera for 40 days during part of June and the whole month of July. Baba was in very strict seclusion at Mehera, and his lovers all over the world kept silence for the month of July 1949. While we were in Mount Abu, Baba had the old blue bus, now at Mehera, enclosed with bamboo matting, and that was where he spent this seclusion. We, of course, all kept silence too. So, as mentioned, it is a month of silence that all lovers all over the world were asked to do. So, that's July of 1949. When Baba was doing his seclusion work, the slightest noise would disturb him. So Mehru had to very quietly persuade the birds in our trees to perch elsewhere during this time. And all our servants had to be very careful when they were washing pots and pans not to bang them in the sink. At first, Baba was on complete fast, but later he began to take food once a day. And then he permitted Mani and myself to see him in the mornings. Sometime in mid-July, Baba went to Pune for around 8 days to continue his seclusion work there. Then he returned to Mehera. On the 1st of August, Baba called all of his lovers from Meherabad and Ahmednagar to be at Meherazad to break the month-long silence. When Baba gave us the sign to speak, only then did we break our silence. Nariman and Arnavaz were already there, having spent the whole month of silence at Mehera. When Baba came out of his seclusion and over to our side, he was so exhausted. It was so hard to see Baba like that. But only he could do his work. How much he worked and suffered for our sake. We knew how great the strain of this seclusion and fast would be for Baba, and we knew that he would like to be entertained afterwards. To amuse Baba, Mani had prepared a puppet show. She had made the puppets herself, wrote the dialogue, and put on the show, and Baba did enjoy it very much. I remember that one of her characters was a Spanish dancer and another a bear. Just after the seclusion, Baba took a few of us to Panchgani to stay at Silver Oaks, a place that Dr. Alu Khambata arranged for him. Arnavaz and Dr. Alu stayed with us. I'll pause here. I think Sanjay was mentioning this as the place that he also explored or visited some time back. Correct, Sanjay?
Yeah, there is a hotel. I'm not sure whether it is this, but in Panchgani, there is a hotel which was owned by Mehra's family.
Oh, that's what you
When
mentioned.
I visited,
Okay.
because I stayed there and I met Dr. What's his name?
Andhra person. Yeah.
Andhra, yeah.
Who's,
Doctor.
yeah.
Then when I met him, then he said, "Oh, this place was owned by Mehra's family."
Okay.
One thing also I recall this. I think during this period, Baba was on the first floor of the building where he was staying, in Mehrazad, where he kept this seclusion. This
First
seclusion is
floor
in
of
Mehrazad, right? What we were just reading.
Correct. No. This seclusion was in Mehrazad, but in that bamboo in the blue bus, I think. So if you remember here,
it was mentioned it is in the
so
blue
while
bus.
we were in so that was where he did his seclusion. So if you see this line here, Baba enclosed it with bamboo matting, and that's where he spent this seclusion. So the July 1949 was in Mehrazad, but it was inside the bus,
blue bus,
surrounded by matting.
Bamboo matting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Dr.
that's
Vasudev.
interesting.
Dr. Vasudev.
Okay, that's the person in
Then
Panchgani.
Panchgani doctor. Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. Let's continue. Then, when we returned from Panchgani in the middle of August 1949, Baba took us to Mehrabad for the New Life meeting in the East Room. Okay, so here's another map. New Life journeys made by Mehera. This is 16th October 1949. It's not yet started, I mean, in the flow of the text, and continues till 23rd November 1951. And what did they do? So it started from Mehrabad, Pune, Bombay, Sirur, Supa, Hyderabad, Belgaum, all the way to UP, Banaras, Sarnath, Jaunpur, Mughal Sarai, then Eastern UP, Western UP to Jhansi, Agra, Delhi, Almora, Dehradun, all the way to Hardwar, Najibabad, and Moradabad. And this was the New Life journeys from October 1949 to November 1951, 2+ years. So I'm sure we'll know more about that. On 21 October 1950, Meher Baba left Mahabaleshwar with only a few men companions for his work, with the famine-stricken poor and also musts in the states of Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, and Maharashtra. This, I think, is not covered in Wayfarers, though there is a mention of musts. But I think the book, the Wayfarer's journey ends in 1948 or 47 itself. No, 48 or 49. So this is 1950. Yeah. This is not covered in Wayfarers. Baba returned to
supplement. There is a supplement which got published, which covers these journeys after the Wayfarers was published. So that's a thin supplement.
So,
I have
so
it.
If
actually.
you look at the ebook,
or in Mehrabad. Yeah.
So if you look at the ebook, can you please confirm that the ebook that we use, the combined one, includes all the supplements? I'll show you what I mean.
It was not a supplement. It's another publication actually.
No, ebook में उसको ebook में what they have made is, so I'll show you. This will be a better way to understand it. So there is the preface and foreword. This I'm showing you Wayfarers now, right? So there is preface and foreword. The main portion of the book ends with page 207 on the ebook. Okay. Then they have one supplement, okay, which is called additional supplement and latest news. That goes on till 405. So 200 pages of additional supplement. Then there are two supplements. They're called Work of Meher Baba and Work of Meher Baba with dates. Okay. So this is how many pages? Yeah, it's about 15 pages. The Work of Meher Baba up to 1948. And then from 1948 to 1949, it's how many pages? 57 pages. So please check your physical thing and see if it is after this. Then we'll read that as well.
Okay.
And it should match to one of these names. Yes. So if you go to Trello, you will be able to compare it with the physical book. Or you can go to the soft copy and compare this one. So this one has all of it. So it ends here. 50. It should be page 57 of the 57 of the 28th July 1949. That's where it ends.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Let's get back to here. So that confirms that this is not included in Wayfarers because we just saw the last date in Wayfarers is 1949. Okay, so that finishes chapter 9 with that. And now we get to the new life, and that's why we have the map before the chapter begins. Okay, that must be the left side page. So the right side page is the 10th chapter. We start from the new life, 16th October 1949 to April 1952. So the map refers to 23 November 1951. I think New Life ends in 1952. I'm not sure of the dates, so I don't want to confuse people. We can rotate. No, I'll read for some more time. 1 second. Okay. 10th chapter, The New Life, 16th October 1949 to April 1952. Our first intimation of the new life came in August 1949 when Baba gathered us all together on Mehrabad Hill for a special meeting with him. From Mehrazad, with Baba came Mani, myself, Goher, Mehru, Naja, and Valu. Already staying at Mehrabad were Kitty, Rano, Katie, Suna Masi, Khorshid, Mansari, the Kaikobad family, and Sultun and Daula. Norina and Elizabeth had just left for the US with instructions for starting the Meher Spiritual Center. So this is 1949. So that's when the center started being set up. And we read when we read, remember those 2 pages we read from Globe? There was a lot of details of how the Myrtle Beach Center was being set up and planned in detail by Baba remotely. So just as context. The bell rang at Mehrabad for everybody, and we girls all gathered in the East Room. East Room is below the tank room, right? Right now? The library ke piche. Is that what it is?
Yes, that's the East Room.
Correct.
There are
Okay.
in the tank is now divided into 2 rooms. One part is the museum. The door is from the west, and there is another door from the east, which is a room that we were discussing when I think Subramaniam was on the call. That
Yes.
room, we don't know what is there inside, but that room was used when Mandali used to visit Mehrabad.
Now it's kind of boarded up. I mean, now there's no public access
It's closed.
to the East.
We don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
What is there inside? Could be some furniture or something. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, cool. So I'll read again. The bell rang at Mehrabad for everybody, and we girls all gathered in the East Room. Baba was seated on my bed, taking note of all the women entering the room. Baba smiled at us, yet we felt there was a seriousness in his expression. He told us all to be seated. Everyone came with their small stools and found room for themselves so they could see Baba. Baba told us on the alphabet board with Mani reading out what jewels we were and how fortunate we were to have been in his ashram and in such close proximity to him. Baba said that now also he expected obedience from us and that each of us in turn was to come to him and to give her answer whether or not she was prepared to obey Baba and do exactly as Baba desired. Baba told us that he might tell some to stay in Mehrabad, others to go to Bombay or Pune or anywhere else, or even to get married. Baba himself would leave Ahmednagar with a few men and women mandali. Each in turn came up to Baba and was asked if she would obey Baba no matter what his decision. Some, without hesitation, said yes, and others, with a little thought, also said yes. The atmosphere was tense and solemn. After everyone had answered yes, Baba said he was very happy with us all. Baba then told us that the Mehrabad ashram, upper and lower, would be disbanded, and irrespective of where everyone was sent, the connection with him would remain the same. So, Baba made arrangements for everyone who was dependent on him, and everything was sold. Some of the women were to stay at Mehrabad, some in Pune, and some in Bombay. Mani, myself, Goher, and Mehru were to accompany him on the new life. I have told you many of our stories of being with beloved Baba at this time in Tales from the New Life, of how on 16th October 1949, Mani, myself, Gohar, and Mehru from the Women Mandali left Mehrazad with Baba, met the men companions at the Ahmednagar railway crossing, and made our way on foot and by bus to Belgaum, and how we were there for about a month, and in mid-November 1949, left by train for Benares, now called Varanasi, in northern India. After nearly a month in Benares and nearby Sarnath, we began on 12th December 1949 to walk towards Dehradun. What a sight we must have been as we left Sarnath. A white horse led our procession, followed by our camel cart, the bullock cart, a white cow, two calves, our little caravan drawn by two bullocks and two donkeys. After the animals and their attendants and drivers came the men companions, then Baba with Enoch. All were dressed in their white kafnis and green turbans of the new life. And then came we four women dressed in blue cotton saris. Fortunately, Baba only had us wear these saris at the beginning of our walk. They were very uncomfortable and hindered our walking. And besides, it was icy cold. So we were relieved when Baba said we could wear slacks. I'll just go to the map just to get the context of what's happening here. So from Mehera Zad, Baba has gone to Belgaum first. From Belgaum, they took a train to Sarnath actually, and then Banaras. They are not very far away.
Sarnath,
Yeah.
there is no train. Banaras.
Banaras. So from Banaras, they would have probably walked or taken
walked
some
to
other
Sarnath.
transport
It's
to
about
Sarnath.
30 kilometers from the main city.
Yeah, it's not far away. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But just see this. From here, they've just now started walking all the way to Haridwar, right? So it's easily 500 kilometers plus, right? So
See the distance
this,
on Google. Yeah.
yeah, it's we should. So it's fascinating. I mean, just to get the context of some of these things, we hear these things, but you know, so if you take Dehradun, and we are starting from Sarnath. Oops. Yeah. So let's walk. Well, it's not too bad, huh? 8 days. And it's 810 kilometers. But yeah, that's what it is. Lucknow, Bareilly, and then all the way up there. And then from there further north to Haridwar.
The route might have been slightly different.
Different,
This is
yes.
the minimum route, but approximately this distance, of course. Yeah.
Correct. And I'd like you to visualize what Mehera described, right? Just imagine this long procession of multiple things, animals, caravan, bullock cart, and then these men followed by the women finally with Baba in the middle. So it must have been quite a sight. And to do all this with no, intimation to anybody, Baba obviously was doing something. Right. Yeah. So this is where we stopped. I'll continue. While Baba sometimes decided to travel by train, we walked much of our way from Sarnath to Dehradun, camping at night in orchards or staying in dak bungalows. The men mandali, joined sometimes by Baba, begged for our food. Baba had me stitch in black tape on his ochre begging bag the Hindi words Prem se Diksha dijiye, which means give alms with love. People of our type are never seen traveling on foot or begging, so we seldom had any privacy. How people stared at us on the road and when we camped, and somehow, without being told, they felt that Baba was someone great and they would join their hands to him and bow to him very respectfully in greeting. They were so fortunate that they got the chance to see God even though they did not know it. It was now the depths of winter, and the region we were in is in the foothills of the Himalayas. In the distance, we could see snow on the mountains. How very, very cold we were. Our hands were purple and blue, and we could never get warm. In this new life, Baba taught us to appreciate every little thing. Hot spinach and millet flatbread given to us by a poor village woman for breakfast one freezing morning. Hot tea and toast at a railway station after traveling by train in the dark. Cold hours of early morning on empty stomachs. Having a caravan to climb into for the night after walking all day, while Baba slept in a freezing tent and the Mandali slept under the stars, having a bath and washing our hair and clothes after days of walking and nights of camping in orchards. Wow. We reached Dehradun on 12th January 1950, exactly 1 month after leaving Sarnath, and we stayed in that area in several houses, including Manjari Mafi, now Meher Mafi, until June 1950, when we left by train for Satara. On this visit to Satara, another inmate joined our household. It was a trader's little pony whom we loved dearly and called Begum. I will pause here and rotate the reading. Either of you who wants to take up and are comfortable can start from here. If nobody is ready, I'll happy to continue. Yeah.
I'll read. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
From Satara, Baba took us to stay in Mahabaleshwar, where on 16th October 1950, exactly 1 year after the start of the new life, Baba stepped out of the new life for 1 day and held a meeting with his lovers. Baba then left for his work around Calcutta, where there was a terrible famine, and for other places too. On Baba's return, I believe we visited Bombay, and then we went again to Mahabaleshwar for some months. So this is the day when Pukarji met Baba, and Pukarji was a staunch Ram Bhakta, and he was also a freedom fighter. Parmeshwari Dayal Pukar, if you must have heard, you must have seen the video when Baba sits on the back of a tall black person. So that's Parmeshwari Dayal Pukar from Hamirpur. And he once he saw Baba during this day when Baba had come out for 1 day, and then he wanted to surrender everything. So he started removing his clothes, money, everything, and then he was stopped by Baba not to remove all his belongings. And this is the story. And on that day, there are many other stories of 16th October when Baba came out of the
Seclusion
seclusion.
briefly. I mean, new life briefly.
Yeah, and the hall where this meeting happened was also there. Now it has been demolished, and I had the fortunate to have a look at that hall. Early I think 89 or 90, I went there. Some of the Baba lovers from Mumbai. Yeah, I'll share some pictures sometime. Yeah, where I was actually. Yeah. Then in May 1951, we set off for Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh, where we stayed until October 1951, when we girls returned by car to Mehera. Baba, after being in seclusion in a cave outside Hyderabad, accompanied by 4 men Mandali, returned to seclusion hill, Mehera, traveling by foot, bus, truck, and train. Baba arrived towards the end of November 1951, and at Mehrazad, he finished his Manonash work. So we are talking of the caves at Hyderabad. Yeah.
Correct.
I remember several stories that I did not tell in Tales from the New Life. One happened while we were in Belgaum at the beginning of the new life. It was at that time that the song of the new life was written by Dr. Ghani with Baba's help. Baba gave the theme. Dr. Ghani put it into verse, and then Baba added some lines and took some out. Every day it was sung at the Mandali's quarters. Adi sang the verses accompanying himself on the harmonium. Baba played the drum, and the Mandali joined in the chorus. It is very special song, and I still remember the next page. The beat of Baba's drum as he accompanied his Mandali. This drum is now in the museum at Mehrabad. Then Baba in the evenings would come to our quarters for a while, and he sometimes asked us, "Have you got any songs to sing, any stories to tell, or anything amusing for me to hear?" Now, since Baba had told us no reading of any kind, we could not entertain Baba by reading to him. The men Mandali helped us to obey this order by giving us old newspapers in foreign languages for wrapping things and starting fires so that we would not inadvertently read. Beautiful. We racked our brains for something to do, just as we had so many years before at the post office. Then I had an idea. Mani could teach Dr. Goher a song who could then be sing it to Baba. I knew this would surprise and amuse Baba as Goher was very shy and she had never sung for Baba before. After much coaxing, we persuaded Goher to learn this particular song and one
One
evening
evening.
she sang it to Baba. It was a well-known song and translated into English. The song said, "Patience, patience, patience, be patient. Your patience will be rewarded by God. Patience is a divine attribute of God. Be devoted and dedicated to patience. Through patience, your trials and tribulations will be dissolved." Baba looked so surprised and happy that Gohar was singing, and he had a lot of fun teasing Gohar by twisting the words of the song around to change the meaning and then asking her, "Is that what you sang?" We all laughed. We all laughed as Baba changed the meaning very wittily. "No, Baba. No, no, Baba," Gohar protested. "I did not sing that." And so Baba would entertain us. In his beautiful way, Baba made the atmosphere light and cheerful. Instead of us amusing him, he himself would make us laugh.
I'll pause you here. Is anybody able to guess the song? Must be in Hindi. If it is in Hindi, what's the word for patience in Hindi? I'm struggling.
Patience
Patience.
in patience.
Sabr. No. Sabr is the complex word for it. More simple, commoner word for patience. Because
Dheeraj.
if we,
Dheeraj is the
huh?
word.
Dheeraj is courage,
Dheeraj.
actually. No.
No.
धैर्य
Dheeraj.
धैर्य
No,
धैर्य
no, no.
धीरज
Dheeraj is
No,
patience actually. Courage is Dheeraj
dhairya.
meaning is patience. Google it.
Okay. Okay.
धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए वो एक कबीर का
सब्र
लाइन है.
सब्र
Kabir.
Yeah.
सब्र
So,
सब्र सब्र
Sabr is what I thought, but then sabr is too not common, right?
हिंदी में it is धीरज only. Have patience. धीरज रखो. You know.
धीरज रखो
Dhairya. That doesn't make
धैर्य is the
sense. That doesn't make
धैर्य is
sense.
the more refined
No, sabr
word
only.
for धीरज. धीरज
So,
is the eloquial and
सहनशीलता
धैर्य is the Sanskritized
sahanshilata or sabr.
सहनशीलता सब्र उर्दू में
धीरता,
सब्र.
क्षमा, sabr, संतुष्टि नहीं है, no
धीरज
satisfaction. Dheeraj, patience. Dheeraj rakho. So Dheeraj rakho is that. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we are able to guess the song then.
Yeah.
My only guess, my only intent was if we get the correct translations of patience, maybe we can guess the song because there's so many times the word appears. Anyway, so let's continue.
Okay. While we were in Banaras, we stayed in a very big house. Our quarters were upstairs, and when we first arrived in the dark, early hours of the morning, we found that one of our rooms was cramped, full of furniture. There were so many tables, chairs, and sofas in that room that we could barely walk through it. Later, we found out that it was a lecture hall. Baba had told us that we were not to use the furniture and he had the mandali move everything out onto an upstairs veranda, except for one table for us to put our plates on and one chair on which to hang Baba's clothes. One night, when Baba was with the mandali, I was in Baba's room chatting with Mehru. I was feeling rather tired. And then I noticed that somehow I had to begin to feel quite comfortable. Mary also noticed that I looked very comfortable. Suddenly, the same thing occurred to us both. Quickly, Mehra, Mehru said, "Get up. You are sitting on a chair." Oh, I said, I was breaking Baba's order, and I could not get up quickly enough once I realized my mistake. I had quite forgotten about not sitting on chairs. While
I
traveling,
mean, the
we always
simplest
carry.
thing that we take for, sorry, yeah, the simplest thing that we take for granted, like sitting on a chair, was forbidden. So they were not supposed to sit right during the, sit on chairs right through the new life. Amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
While traveling, we always carried some drinking water with us in case Baba wanted to a drink. But on one occasion, during our walking days, we did not take it as we had not used it for a while. Just on that day, Baba asked for water, and we had none. How terrible we felt. During the new life, we were to help Baba keep his mood, not spoil it, and our carelessness was very serious. Fortunately, there was a well nearby, and besides the well stood a man with a bucket. Baba sent Iris to get water from that man, and when it was brought, Baba bowed and touched Iris's feet with his hands before he accepted the water. Baba then told Iris to do likewise to the man. It was as if through Iraj, Baba was touching the water giver's feet. After this, we never forgot the water. Going towards Dehradun in the Himalayas region was mostly walked, but we did travel by train from Jaunpur to Moradabad and later from Nizamabad to Dehradun.
Najibabad.
Nazibabad to Dehradun. Okay, so it was not the complete walk. It was from
Yeah.
Jaunpur to Moradabad. So when you reach Moradabad, you are almost close to this area, hilly area. After
The
Moradabad, then
Himalayas,
Nazibabad,
foothills.
then hotels. Yeah.
So yeah, it was there on the map, right? So
Yeah,
Najibabad, Moradabad is here, and then you go further north up to
yes,
Dehradun.
yes. Nazibabad and Haridwar.
Yes,
Nazibabad is just
yes,
outside. Yeah.
correct. The train head, I think, is Haridwar, no? Dehradun also has train? No, right?
It has a train.
Okay.
Hill
Where did
stations,
I?
these Britishers definitely made,
For them to
Shimla.
go.
For example, Shimla, this Dehradun near Masuri. Masuri was to
Mhm.
be a popular place for them. And similarly at Mount Abu, there is a train head.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they are
yeah.
not
No,
very big
they
cities that
want their good
yeah.
life.
Yeah. Ooty. Yeah,
Like,
like that.
yeah,
Close to Ooty. Yeah.
Kodai Road has a
Kodai
station, the
Road. Yeah, yeah.
closest point
Yes,
to
yes.
the hill station. Ooty has the
Correct.
circular railway, Darjeeling. You're right.
Yeah, Darjeeling. Like
Yeah,
Darjeeling also. Yes.
the heritage railway. Yeah.
A number of little incidents happened to us in Moradabad. We arrived at Moradabad railway station around midnight. During the new life, we always seem to arrive at our destination in the middle of the night. It was midwinter and bitterly cold. The ride to our accommodation in an open tonga seemed endless. Money was not at all well, and we were looking forward to making her comfortable in a warm room. But when we finally arrived, we found a room with a newly washed, still wet floor, no lights, no furniture, and 12 doors open to freezing outside air. Mani sat huddled on the wet floor while we shut the 12 doors to keep out the cold. And at last, when some luggage arrived, we hurriedly opened a bedding roll for her. Can't imagine such tough life.
Yes.
The next
Just
morning, we could
visualizing
see.
it is so tough.
Yeah.
Such cold weather, wet
Yeah,
floor.
spine chilling actually.
And,
The next morning, we could see our accommodation properly. It was a Hindu dharamshala used by sadhus and pilgrims. Our room had a narrow veranda all around it, and there was some open ground in the front where we could see the blackened stones from previous occupants cooking fires. Okay. Mani was feeling a little better, so together we went to the caravan, which was parked nearby to get a few things that we needed. We also lit a little stove to heat some icy water for Baba. We were doing all of this outside the room in the open when suddenly a Brahmin appeared. He came to us and said, "Who are you? Why are you all here?" We replied, "We have permissions to be here." "No, you can't stay here," he told us. "You will all have to get out." This man kept arguing with us, and I had to ask Koher to run to Baba and ask him to send the mandali. The mandali all came quickly and explained to this Brahmin that we had special permission to use this place. They showed him a pass that the authorities had signed, and he finally believed them and walked away. In Muradabad, Baba's tent was pitched on the veranda of our room, and one afternoon, Baba came back to the tent for a short rest. Baba must have been in Muradabad all morning, perhaps working with a must. Be very quiet, he told us. So we stayed quietly in our room. All of a sudden, a sadhu, a rather plump one with a bald head, appeared on our doorstep. "Give me bhiksha," he bellowed. Boher quickly went to him, but he kept shouting, "Bhiksha, floor." We had nothing in our room, as we were not doing the cooking. "Please forgive me, but we don't have anything," Goher told him. "And please speak quietly. Someone is resting." "What? No floor?" he shouted. He looked at her very oddly, as in India, floor is always kept with the women. "No," Goher said. "Please inquire from the men." "Men?" bellowed the sadhu. "Why would the men have flour?" "Shh," said Goher. Eventually, she did manage to persuade the sadhu to leave, and somehow Baba was not disturbed. Baba later told us that this person was a genuine seeker. It was not always easy to be with Baba. I do not mean just during the new life, but, but always. Sometimes we missed obeying Baba. We were not perfect, but we always tried. And most of the time, we did obey him. It was difficult, very difficult at certain times, but Baba never puts more weight on us than we can carry. Looking back, we feel that Baba was content and happy in the new life, walking with his mandali, following him. And so we were happy too. There were discomforts and difficulties, but Baba was with us. We were going through it all for Baba and with Baba, and that was all we wanted.
That's the end of New Life. So short chapter, chapter 10. So now it is chapter 11, visiting the West after New Life. Okay, we can
Yeah,
rotate
anybody
the
wants to
reading as
read?
well. Yeah,
Stop.
we can
Yeah.
rotate. Yeah. Ashok, you want to read for some time?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay, Ashish after that. Huh? Ashok, start, please.
So
Let off.
visiting the West, Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Visiting the West, 1952. While Baba continued the new life with other phases such as the fiery free life tours at the end of 1952, the Mononage phase of Baba's work was now over. By early 1952, Elizabeth Patterson with Princess Norina Machiavelli had set up under Baba's instructions the Mehera Spiritual Center at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Elizabeth requested Baba to visit the United States of America to officially open the center. Baba and his party left India in April 1952 and returned in August 1952. Following the new life, Mehra had begun to mingle more freely with other close women. Previously, she had been very quiet, hardly speaking with others. Now she began to mix a little more. Slowly, Baba prepared Mehra for the time when she would be meeting many of his lovers.
So again, the italic words are editorial. Just a reminder to everybody that when we read the Myrtle Beach backgrounder, which was a Glow article, we noticed how Elizabeth Patterson and Norina were actually the only people allowed to stay in touch with Baba during the new life. Nobody was supposed to write to Baba. But Elizabeth was specifically granted permission to write to Baba and get back responses, which was happening periodically because that was the time the center was being set up. And Baba went to great details on dictating what had to be done. I mean, wrong word probably, but basically deciding what he wants at a very, very detailed level at the center. He had not yet seen the center, but obviously we know he was very involved in identification of the site and then what had to be done there on a day-to-day basis, right from which swamp to be cleaned, which area to be drained. Baba was being kept updated, yeah, by and requests were sent for approval, and Baba used to send back approvals through snail mail, through regular, posts, not even telegrams. And Baba somehow was sharing his latest coordinates because he was moving around as well in the new life. So just some context to imagine what was happening at that time.
He was building
Elizabeth
his home in the West.
Yes, building his home in the West. Yes, and with what detail and with what care. I mean, who builds a double concrete wall in America? I think this is the only building, other than maybe bunkers, that will have double walls. Right? It has double walls. So I was shocked when I heard of that because usually it's wood structures and it's very very light construction. Construction can be done in few weeks, but this building where Baba stayed in the center was by specific order with double concrete. So two walls separated by a gap with concrete walls. So obviously he did something there, which is very special. Yes, Ashok.
I just
Now
one last
Mehra's
thing.
wordings. Now
Yeah,
Mehra's wording starts.
yeah, I'll do that. I just said, maybe building a double concrete wall to make it earthquake resistant or some other thing. There has to be some purpose in that.
Yeah, or maybe the work he did there
Earth-
needed that kind of thing.
The earthquake
Okay.
design is basically depends on the region, the chances of the earthquake in that region. So all the buildings in that region should have
That kind
ideally
of
that kind of structure. But just doing one building, there must be a purpose. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
we'll
it's
find
we,
out.
we
Ashok, you're probably right. We'll find out. It's just less than 100 years since the avatar has dropped his body, and the house is. I mean, time is going to be witness to what happens and why the double concrete wall. We'll find out. So it may have been to serve some purpose when Baba was staying in that building, or like you said, maybe in the future. We don't know.
yeah, we don't know. Elizabeth invited Baba to come to America to open the center in Myrtle Beach. and then she and Norina had found it for him. Naturally, she wanted Baba to be the first to stay there, house warm the center, and bless it with his beautiful presence before opening it to his lovers. So she arranged for the air tickets, and from the women, Baba took money, myself, Koher, Meheru, Rano, and Kitty. We had visited France with Baba in 1937, and now Baba was taking us to the United States, England, and Switzerland. While we went in the biggest, fastest plane at that time, it still took us 2 days and 2 nights to reach New York. That was our very first time in an aeroplane, and everything was new and interesting to us. The plane held 50 passengers, and it seemed to us very big. The seats were arranged in pairs with an aisle down the center, and I sat with Baba. To our surprise, every few hours, an aerostess brought us a tray of food. And as Baba had told us that while we were on the plane, our usual orders and restrictions about food were lifted, and we were able to enjoy everything. At first, I thought, how lovely. But just as we were, but as we were just sitting and getting no exercise, I quickly lost my appetite. Still, when the next tray arrived, it would look so tempting that I would sample that too. Poor Mehru and Kitty were quite airsick and could not eat at all. Baba had just finished his Manonash work, and so he was very tired. He often rested on the plane with a sheet pulled over him, but whether he was covered or not, people somehow felt his dignity and were drawn to him. One was a little European girl who was sitting with her mother some distance from us. When the first morning came, she played in the aisle and looked at each passenger as she passed them. Then she saw Baba. The little girl came quickly up to him, put her hand on his knee, and smiled up at him. Although going to a European would have been more natural for her, she came straight to Baba. She was so attracted to him. Baba put his arm around her and patted her and caressed her hair, and she was very happy. Then her mother, seeing her with Baba, called out, "Come back to your seat. You mustn't disturb the gentleman." The little girl had to go back to her mother, but as soon as her mother became distracted in conversation with another passenger, the little girl stole quickly back to Baba again. And again, Baba caressed her. She was very drawn to Baba, and she seemed to feel so much love for him. She was such a fortunate child. Another child, a little boy, came to Baba's seat and put his hand and touched Baba even when he was covered with blankets. Then there was the man who marched down the aisle past Baba very quickly as if he were going somewhere. When he turned around, however, he walked very slowly back to his seat, all the time looking at Baba. Then again he came striding down the aisle, turned, trotted back to his seat, still looking at Baba for as long as possible. This he did many times, as though he could not get his fill of sight of Baba's good face. Elizabeth met us in New York and escorted us to the center in Myrtle Beach that she and Norina had set up for Baba. They had done everything perfectly down to the last detail with such love that Baba was very touched and very happy. Baba stayed at what is called Baba House, and we girls stayed in a guest house, a special cottage that Elizabeth had built for us girls to use. We stayed mostly inside our house during our visit, and Baba came to rest there in the afternoon. Our meals were sent to the guest house where we ate in the little dining room there. I'm taking a pause. I just want to say that in the flight, that little girl and man, they were so fortunate to have Baba's darshan and perhaps some of his blessings.
Indeed.
Continuing. One day we saw a tray of chicken go by us. Who is having chicken? We wondered. Oh, that's for the cooks, we were told. We were so surprised. Chicken was a rare treat for us, and after enjoying no restriction on the plane, we were again on our usual vegetarian fare, so we could not have it. One day, Kitty told us that we were to have a treat of black-eyed peas, which she explained was a specialty of the South. Kitty described this dish so temptingly that our mouths were watering with the thought of something new and delicious. Then lunch arrived. We could not believe our eyes. The specialty of the South was a bowl of some very familiar beans we called chora. We have very often at Mehera. Then we heard that the cooks drove to work in their own cars. This was another surprise to us as we never heard of employees doing cars. In India, a car is a great luxury. America is a different kind of country. We said to each other. Here we are eating boiled vegetables and the employees are having chicken and driving their own cars. After staying some days at the center, we set off with Baba to drive across America to Mehera Mount in California. Many years before this, Baba had told the Mandali that his blood would be spilled on American soil. We had forgotten this. When it happened on this large journey, we remembered Baba's word. We had been traveling, I believe, a couple of days and were in Oklahoma in the middle of the United States. Elizabeth was driving a car. Baba was seated in front with her, and Mani, Nehru, and myself were in the back. In a station wagon following us was Sarosh, who was driving, and Gohar, Rano, Kitty, and Delia. Baba all of a sudden told Elizabeth to drive fast, so Elizabeth drove faster. Then, after 3 or 4 minutes, Baba told Elizabeth, go faster, still faster, and Elizabeth went faster. Yet again, after 5 minutes, Baba gestured, faster. Baba, Elizabeth said, I'm hitting 90 miles an hour. But she obeyed Baba and drove even faster. Baba knew what he wanted. Now I can say that the accident happened, but Baba's grace was such that I did not see how it happened. I must have been unconscious. I have been told that I was thrown out of the car onto the road. Baba was also thrown out. But I remember one thing. What I experienced at that moment that we were hit is this. I saw Baba seated in the front. He turned around and asked me, are you hurt, Mehra? Are you hurt much? No, Baba, I said, I'm not hurt. It's not serious at all. It's nothing to worry about. And I put my hand over my forehead to hide the spot where I was injured so that Baba would not worry. That is what I saw. Yet somehow Baba and I were both thrown out onto the road and I was unconscious. I did not regain consciousness for some time. I do not know how many days, and I do not know how Baba. I did not know that Baba was seriously hurt. I have been told that when the second car with Goher and others arrived, Baba was lying on the road, very seriously injured and in great pain. His leg was completely fractured, and his arm, where it joins the shoulder, was fractured. Baba's nose was broken, and inside of his mouth was hurt, and his face was all covered with blood. Baba was in great pain and in great need of help, and he was looking up at the sky and not uttering a single sound to let people know how much pain he was in and how badly he was hurt. He was in such pain, yet he did not even groan. When an ambulance arrived with a stretcher, Baba would not let them help him. He pointed towards me and gestured, help her first. So they took so they first took me, and when the second stretcher came, Baba was helped. Even though Baba was in great pain and need of help himself, he thought of another at that time. How beautiful. How was he was with his love to think of another person at such a time when he himself needed help. We were taken to Prague hospital where a very fine doctor, Dr. Burleson, took care of us. Again, Baba had them see to me first. I feel very bad about that, but I could not do anything about it because I was unconscious. I was I was attended to and Baba's leg was set in a cast. Baba was in one ward and Elizabeth and I were in another. Elizabeth had been behind the steering wheel and both her arms as well as ribs had been broken. And when after maybe 2 days I was conscious, Baba sent word with Goa to say that I should not worry and that everything would be all right. He said that if I could walk, he wanted me to come to his ward to see him. So I went there. Baba's legs were under the covers. So I did not see that he was seriously hurt. I could not open my eyes properly because my forehead was injured and the nerves for smell, eyes, and teeth were damaged. My front teeth were numb and my eyes were just tiny slits, and I had to tip my head back to see Baba and to see where I was going. Baba told me to go and rest, and later he sent me a lovely note which Guher read to me. Even then, I could not hear properly, and later I read it again.
So I think we'll just take a little detour and see the center. It's called the Heartland Center, and it's in the news. I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah,
I
by
think
the
they
way,
have some
Ashish, you should
they,
Ashish, you
yeah, they
should
have some
make a trip
program.
soon. Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute. They have a video. I mean, they have a film that they're premiering next week, right? But it's very late India time. So this is the center. This is actually next to the hospital, and I'll show you the hospital. There should be photographs here. No, strange. So there's the hospital is just next door to this. So no, interesting. But all
In
of
the
us
hospital,
would
they
have seen the
preserve.
photograph. Yeah.
Yeah, they preserved one room, right, in the hospital. I saw that photo.
Yes. So this is where the So if you see this, this is the community
Dr.
hospital.
Barcelona. Barcelona. What was his name? Dr. Barceloni's
Burleson,
hospital.
Burleson, Burleson,
Burles.
Burleson. So this is the hospital that Baba stayed in. Let's see if there are photographs.
Yeah, that's Prague Community Hospital. It was there.
Correct. I'm seeing if there are
Cross.
photographs. Yeah, this is the place. So if you see this, this is the hospital as it stands, and that's the view when you stand from the hospital and see outside. And this is next door to the building I showed you earlier. Now inside there is a beautiful. I mean, there's the room which Baba stayed, which is now used as a consultation room. But out of respect for what happened, they've actually just put up a photograph of Baba and allow anybody to visit and so on. But like Ashish mentioned, why it's in the news is the locals there, and specifically the center here, the center, which is a trust called the Avatar Meher Baba Heartland Center, is trying to run a campaign to buy this property which houses the hospital from the city. It's a government hospital, so they want to buy it out from the city and develop it as a memorial, right? So they are premiering a video next week, and that video will also be used as a way to trigger some fundraise. I hope I'm describing what's happening correctly, but that's the news. And Ashish, you're too close not to visit this place. You should make a trip one of the weekends. You can even do a day trip if you start early enough.
No, not day trip. Actually, it's means I need to fly. It's around 8 hours from Houston, 8 to 9 hours.
Really?
So
No.
yeah. It's near from Dallas. From Dallas, it's 4 hours.
Oh,
But
okay.
from
Yeah,
here to
maybe.
Dallas, it's again 4 hours. Yeah.
Maybe. So you can actually do one thing. You can start late on a Friday and spend the night there, which is what I did. So I started late from Dallas and spent the night
Okay.
in the center. And if you're visiting, you just have to email them, and they have guest accommodation. I mean, very limited, but they have guest
Okay.
accommodation. So you can spend the night, and then late Saturday you can again come back. You just need half a day there. That's all. Right? There's nothing else
Yeah.
to do, but it's lovely. Okay, so let's get back to the reading. Actually, we'll rotate as well. We have a
Yeah, good.
rare returnee. Hi, Meher Kiran. Are you in a position to read? You can read if you're comfortable.
No, Karthik, not today. Jai Baba.
No problem. Ashish, then you can continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baba. Thank you, Ashok.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Our doctor, Dr. Burleson, was astounded by Baba. When Baba was brought in, he could see that Baba was in great pain, with his leg completely broken and many cuts and bruises and a broken nose. Who is this person? He asked. He is not groaning or complaining or making a sound, but he must be in a great pain. How is it that he can bear the pain like that without saying a word? Dr. Burleson was told about Baba, and he later became a Baba lover and had great faith in him. His wife too was a very fine person. When we were a little better, we were moved to Elizabeth's private house, Yopan Dunes at Myrtle Beach. Baba and I were not allowed to travel sitting up, and so we had to be taken by ambulance. Baba had already been carried by a stretcher into the ambulance that was going to take us to Myrtle Beach. But I did not know this. When Gohar and a nurse come in to get me, I started to walk to the ambulance. No, you have to lie on the stretcher, they told me. But I can walk. Why lie on the stretcher? I asked. But they insisted, and of course, I did what they told me. And they put my stretcher next to Baba's in the ambulance. So we were side by side. Gohar sat with us to look after Baba and to be there to answer any questions he might have. Two very young people were driving the ambulance, but they turned out to be good drivers.
Let's pause here
Bob,
again. I'll just give
yeah,
you how much of a distance this is, right? So we are here, and Baba actually went from here to Yukon Dunes in Myrtle Beach. Is that a place? No, it's not getting concluded. So I'll just say Myrtle Beach.
too far, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty far. It's Myrtle Beach is on the coast, right? So there you go. So if you drive, it's 17 hours in an ambulance. So, and by the way, where Baba was actually going when the accident happened was this, was Meher Mount. And you'll see how much of a distance that is. So the plan, he actually went right across the center of the country and from one tip to the other tip. And the accident, like you see, happened somewhere in the middle, right? So obviously there's some spiritual, metaphysical intent that we will never understand, but that it's not random. Nothing is random in Baba's life, right? So that's 2,600 miles from coast to coast. That was the plan. But he went here, and after the accident, after when he was fit for travel, that too only by ambulance, he went back and he did not go to the center again, but he went to another building, which was the ancestral property of Elizabeth, which again Baba said that you take it. And obviously Elizabeth didn't understand at that time why she needed that as a, as a bequeathing as well from her father. but she accepted that bequeathing, and it has multiple rooms. We read about it. Now it is acquired by Sufism Reoriented, and they have created a memorial. But basically, it was just suited for Baba's needs. I think, if I remember correctly, it had an elevator. It had two rooms side by side, so Mehra and Baba could, recuperate from this. And it had rooms in the bottom. So, I mean, obviously, everything had a divine plan associated with it. So that's not on the coast. That's a little indoor. Yupon Dunes is indoors, whereas the center is on the coast. Yeah, just so that, again, just some more context for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Baba, as we
Baba,
from here.
as we went, Baba, as we went along, will tell me, look outside. Is it a town? So I would stretch my back until I could see out. Yes, Baba, it is a town. After a long drive, at last we came to the town where we spent the night in a motel. Gohar helped me to our room, and Baba was helped to his by the Mandali. The next day, we reached Myrtle Beach and Elizabeth's private house, Yupon Dunes, where Baba had a special bedroom that had belonged to Elizabeth's mother. It was very nice and facing the sea, but still Baba was very uncomfortable. It was June and the weather was quite warm and humid, just like Bombay's. Baba was perspiring from the heat, and this made his leg feel very itchy inside the cast. Baba told Ranu to do something to help this. So she brought a fine pencil and a tiny knitting needle to Baba so Baba could try to scratch inside the cast. We were doing our best to make Baba comfortable, but Baba was in sorry state. When Elizabeth realized that it was getting too warm for Baba, she had an air conditioner put in his room, and he was much more comfortable. We girls were feeling the heat too, and we all wanted Baba to call us into the cool air conditioned room. We stayed at Elizabeth's for over a month. I did not go into the garden. I was always inside the house or on the terrace, and Margaret would come to my room to massage my hands and feet. I did not go out except for a visit to Duke Hospital in Durham, North Carolina, where Baba's cast was changed and I had X-rays taken. We also needed their advice about when we would be fit to travel back to India. In those days, the journey took 2 days and 2 nights, and we were told we must still rest a little longer. Baba Darling was so sweet. He knew we were feeling cooped up with not leaving the house. So one day he called us to his room and told Rano to look in the newspaper to see if there was any entertainment in Myrtle Beach besides the cinema. Baba knew that there was something happening that I loved, and Rano found it. It was a horse show. We wondered how we were to get Baba downstairs in his cast so he could come with us. And then Elizabeth sent word for us to turn a brass handle on a door in the corner of his room. We had not noticed this before, but now we saw.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay. So
Yeah, go ahead.
we saw that it was the handle of the door to an elevator that had been installed for Elizabeth's elderly mother, and it was very convenient for Baba.
So I'll
We
pause
went.
there again. We'll pause there. And I was telling you about the article, which is what I was looking for. So this is that. This is from the Glow article, and there are photographs of the house that Baba stayed in. Right. So we'll get to that in a minute. We read this, if you recollect.
Yes, this house was also used for them to
So that's
stay during the construction of. Yeah, this is the house,
Correct.
the big house actually.
No,
This
no,
is the
that's not the
beauty
house. That's not the house. This is where they stayed before going to the center. I'll go to, there are photographs, right? So if you go down here, this is in the center, and that's the cabin that was moved, if you recollect. Yeah, so this is Baba's bedroom. This is the Elizabeth Patterson collection of photographs. And there was a photograph of the house as well. Oh, I think that's the center. I'm sorry. That's from the center, the Baba's bedroom from the center. Now let's go to, yeah, this is from Yupon. Yeah, this is Yupon Dunes. This is this is not when Baba was there. So when the center was being developed, what's his name? Darwin Shaw. Darwin Shaw and family took turns with Elizabeth to actually stay in Yupon Dunes and go and work during the day at the center. So Yupon Dunes had a role even before it went. I mean, before the center was done. There they are, the Shaw family with Kitty Devi near Yupon Dunes. And if you go further, okay, so there are no photographs. So anyway, that's some more context as we are reading. And I saw Marianne join the call. Hi, Jai Baba. Oh, she left. Okay, no problem. So let's continue. Hello, Ashish, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was reading on the mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to the horse show and how beautiful it was. Baba was so sweet. He took so much interest in the horses, pointing out this one, asking what we thought about that one, so that we should feel more interested and enjoy it more. It was a 3-day show, and we enjoyed the first and second days. Baba wanted a change. He had been resting in the Yupon Dunes now for over a month, and he wanted to go to New York. Hotels in the New York are very expensive. So Baba asked his lovers to find a place where he and we women could stay. Phyllis Frederick was the one who had a friend, a Mr. Ferris, who lived in a
Mrs. Ferris.
scarce.
No, it's Mrs. Ferris.
Mrs. Ferris, who lived in Scarsdale, who lives in Scarsdale. Miss Ferris had never met Baba, but she had heard about him through John Adrell,
Jean Adriel.
and she
Jean
was
Adriel is, she's written a book as well. Go ahead.
okay, Jean Adrell, and she was very happy to have Baba stay in her house. She knew many eminent people who were outstanding in their fields of dance, music, and so on, and she had their photos in her house. Of course, she now wanted Baba's photo too. She was a very nice woman. While we were there, Evidius requested Baba to visit her place to give darshan to many who were waiting to meet him, which he did. Baba and his party returned to India from Scarsdale via England. When they spent 6 days at a hotel, Rubens in London, while their Delia de Leon took the woman Mandali. Sightseeing. They visited Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, the Tower of London, and Kew Gardens, among other places. And one day they were driven to Stratford on Avon. From England, Baba, with his group, traveled to Switzerland, where they stayed at Hedy Martin's house in Lugano for 2 weeks. From Lugano, they returned to Bombay after changing planes in Paris and Karachi. They arrived back at Mehera in August 1952. Kitty Devi, by Baba's order, did not return to India with him, but instead stayed on at Meher Spiritual Center, Myrtle Beach, to serve Baba there.
I'll pause you there
They,
again.
yeah,
So if you look at where these locations are. So Scarsdale is upstate New York, and so let's say you say downtown, it's about an hour, right? So that's what it is. So it's upstate. So it's not New York City, but New York State. So Scarsdale is the early part of upstate New York. So probably the city ends around here, and then Baba was living upstate, right? So it's 55 minutes from downtown, right? Just to give you the context, but yeah.
Who was the first Westerner who comes to the contact with Baba, and how? Like Baba was in India, right? In Pune
Yeah.
or Meherabad area. So who was the first person who got contacted by Baba from Westerner? Yeah, I know that. Apart from Mandali, like there must be someone, or
No, I don't know. Good question, but there must be some answer somewhere. I do not know who was the first non-monthly Westerner to get exposed. By the way, the
maybe
London places, this Stratford upon Avon is basically Shakespeare's birthplace. So that's where I think they went there, right? So anyway, let's continue. We have a few minutes. Maybe we can read a page or so.
there are two stories that I especially recall that happened on our way back to India. One is humorous incident that happened to Rano. I think it must have been Switzerland when she was getting our air tickets. It was Rano's job to help with arrangement and tickets for Baba's party. And at this particular place, an official of some kind asked her for the names of the people in her party. So Rano said Merwan Sheriar Irani. And the official wrote this down. And where is he? And where is he from? He asked. Ahmednagar. Rano replied. And he wrote that down too. Married? He asked. Not married. Rano replied. And the official noted that. Who else? He asked. Mehera J. Irani. From where? He asked. Ahmednagar. Rano replied. Married? He asked. Not married. Rano replied. Next. Mani S. Irani. From where? Ahmednagar. Married? No. Who else? Gohar R. Irani. He wrote down Gohar's name. Where is she from? Ahmednagar. Okay. Married? He again asked. No. Rano again replied. Another not married. Is there anyone else? Yes. Meru R. Irani. From Ahmednagar? He asked. Yes. Rano replied. Not married? He asked. Not married. Rano replied. What all these Iranis from Ahmednagar are not one is married. This official was very surprised about all the unmarried Iranis in the Ahmednagar. Rano told Baba and us all about this incident, and Baba was very amused by it. On our return home, we had to go from Geneva to Paris, where we changed planes to fly to Karachi. We were waiting at the aerodrome outside Paris for our plane, and the Baba was in wheelchair because his leg had not yet completely mended. Baba had been sitting in this chair for quite a long time, waiting and waiting to board the plane, and the girls were gathered around him. Then Baba told Rano, "Go and ask when we are to board the plane." Rano returned to say, "It will be a half hour more." But after only 10 minutes, Baba sent her to ask again. This happened a number of times until an official told Rano to stop worrying. At last, we were told we could board the plane, and Baba's chair was wheeled to the gangway. There were some French airline officials there and few Frenchmen standing around. Baba turned around and said, "I can't climb up." And he told Rano, who spoke French, "Tell them I can't climb up. What's to be done?" So Rano explained in French that Baba's leg was seriously hurt and that he could not walk up the steps to the plane. At that moment, a tall, very strong looking Frenchman came to the front and said, "I will carry that man." And this man was so fortunate, he did carry Baba. He was very strong and he lifted Baba from the chair as gently as if Baba were a little child. Baba put his arm around this man's neck to hold on. And then very slowly, he carried Baba up the gangway. Oh, Baba, Baba, we said with our hearts in our mouths, afraid that the man might stumble. But he placed Baba safely in the seat that was his, and Baba petted him. This Frenchman was so fortunate to be the one to carry Baba in his arms when Baba needed help. Yet he does not know who it was that he carried and how lucky he was. And we were so impressed and so happy that Baba had been safely carried to his seat. I still remember how sweet Baba looked holding onto that man. From Switzerland, we flew via Paris to Pakistan, and from Pakistan, we flew to India, arriving in Bombay in the evening. By the time we finished greeting all the ones who had come to meet us at the airport, it was late, and we drove from Bombay to Pune and Pune to Mehera in the dark. It had been raining, so the air was damp but very pleasant. We stopped on the way and served Baba food in the car. And when we arrived at Mehera safe and sound, we were very sleepy. One day, a few weeks later, Baba was walking in the garden at Mehera and we were on the veranda. He asked us, "Am I walking properly?" And we said, "Yes, Baba, you are not limping at all. You are walking naturally." So Baba walked a bit faster, and every day from that day, Baba walked further. He loved to walk. After this accident, Baba's leg healed very beautifully, and we were so happy. As soon as it mended, Baba knew he must make up for lost time. He at once began to give darshan in Hamirpur and Andhra for the very first time, and how those people with so much love welcomed Baba. It was in Hamirpur district on a later visit. There in February 1954 that Baba for the first time said that he was the avatar. Sometime after he returned to India, Dr. Burleson's wife wrote to Mani asking how I was and inquiring whether I was getting bad headaches from my injury. Mani wrote back to say, "No, Mehra never gets headache. It is I, Mani, who has bad headaches. And by Baba's grace, I never had headaches, but I have completely lost my sense of smell. I cannot smell anything, not food, nor roses, not anything at all. And for the first time in many, many years, Colonel M.S. Irani, my mother's brother, who had loved us so dearly when I was young and who had later written articles against Baba, wrote to Baba. Somehow, we had heard about the accident and he wanted to see me. We did not meet, but it shows that my uncle was still thinking of us and missing us. Later, Baba said of my uncle, he will come to me. I was very happy thinking Baba meant that Colonel Irani and perhaps then the other Zoroastrian would become Baba lover. But Colonel Irani died that same year. Baba must have meant that my uncle would come to know who Baba was in his next birth and how the children from many Zoroastrian families who were against Baba in the early years are beginning to accept Baba as the avatar.
Okay, so we can stop here and start next week on chapter 12. Thank you, Ashish. So,
Thank you.
any thoughts before we wrap up? Great. So let's catch up tomorrow as we continue the journey of discourses. And look forward to seeing you all. Enjoy the rest of Saturday and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Jai Baba.
Par Meher Baba ki jai.
Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Jai Baba, Kiran. Jai Baba, everybody.
Hey, Baba.